Welcome to your Friday. It is Friday, beginning of the third quarter. I am Jay Cleveland Payne. I am a bit off center, but hey, we're going to get this thing done regardless. This is the 1st of July for 2022. My name, say it one more time and cough into the mic. Jay Cleveland Payne with things you might not have heard for today, which are actually from the past 30 hours. I know it's kind of weird like that, the paradox of time that we have. We will present for you in just a moment 8 news stories that were provided by me by the internets, aggregated all over the place, and put out there for you to tell us which stories were the most conversational over the past day or so you can start off your day with great conversations and going into great news stories. Now, we are posting brand new news stories basically as we speak, so make sure you are following us on our feeds and following us on our long journey. You can find out more details about that if you want to skip ahead by going to our main website. This is a conversationproject.com. Otherwise, stick back, hang on, and we're going to get you those stories right now to get your morning off to a awesome start. Let's use awesome today. First story of the day. Kimberly Elise dragged for praising Roe versus Wade being overturned. Fans say she learned nothing from For Color Girl's abortion plot. ShadowAct.com on this one. This is a story that's been kind of brewing for a little bit, kind of floating around across the internets in various different places. People jumping on Kimberly Elise for her stance on Roe versus Wade, saying that she is happy for the babies being saved right now. And we're not going to go into the political part and what exactly she said, but essentially she is saying, or the fans of her role in For Color Girls are saying essentially she was in a movie that basically went over how women's rights and the rights of their bodies is a big deal and should be a big deal, and she's eventually spit in the face of that role and of that film, and of course just portraying women in general because women's rights and all. You can feel however you want to feel on either side of the thing. The biggest thing, and we'll go back to this actually in a bit, we'll bring this up when we go to our teaser story, is that people's opinions matter and they don't. What your individual opinion matters on something really doesn't really matter, unfortunately. That's something I even say about voting. Your one vote doesn't count, but your block of votes as a group is what makes things happen. And so people on either side of the place, any random person with their thoughts on Roe versus Wade or anything going on in the world means nothing in a vacuum. But in the grand scheme of things, and basically the people that you hang out with or don't hang out with, people you're trying to impress or just egress from, that's where things matter. Kimberly Elise essentially has pissed off her fan base right now, and that's what's happening with her view. She's not backed away from her view. Read the actual story from Shadow and Act with what they have there, and read what she actually says about this in the actual detail. Don't just take the headline for granted. Read details on this one, and you are free to think any way you want to on this decision because it's going places, definitely. Second story, Wendy Williams' friends and family feel they can no longer pretend she's in good health after disturbing interview. TheSun.com, whatever. That's our source for this story. Wendy Williams is sort of back. She's doing what she can to be in the public spotlight. We had a story yesterday about her podcast coming in. She's going to have a podcast. She's going to have celebrities come in. She's going to do her thing. She's going to talk some dish. She's going to spill some tea, y'all. She's going to do everything she did on the TV talk show on the internet. The problem is she's not been seen in public or doing much in public for quite some time. And after some interviews she's just done, basically people are kind of saying, you know what? Maybe she needs to back away. Maybe she needs to pull back. Maybe this thing ain't so great after all. Maybe we're putting way too much into the old lovable Wendy Williams to make her feel good or maybe make some money as opposed to her actual health and well-being. So that is something that's more or less rumors. Of course, the-sun.com is a tabloid from overseas, so it's tabloid stuff. But basically what we're being seen, and now maybe being heard, is after being heard and seen, some of her supporters are now thinking, well, maybe we should pull some support and just kind of let her rest up. We will see how that works out going forward. Next story. An American Airlines passenger drove to Denver Airport to rebook his seats after airline's customer service counter left him on hold for nearly 4 hours. Breathe. If you've been traveling over the past couple of weeks via air, You've seen a lot of this going on. I traveled to Texas via airplane about a week ago. About a week ago, and it was just it was a single flight, one plane hop from Little Rock to Dallas, straight back, straight forth. The only issue we had was rebooking a gate coming back from Dallas to Little Rock. No issues whatsoever. But all the horror stories we heard from people coming into Dallas for a big convention coming up, and people just coming in for visitation, people trying to just get through Dallas, get where we're going, of flights being rescheduled and rebooked, and going through and seeing groups of people just camped out in various spaces because something happened. It's going crazy. This guy decided he was going to take life and his flight in his own hands and get his flight rebooked by going back to the airport he started with because he got stuck someplace and could not get anyone from customer service literally for 4 hours. It's getting crazy. It's getting bad. This is obviously not the norm. Very, very extreme case, but this is what happens when some people have to get things done, and it turns into a salacious story that people talk about. So people are talking about this guy right here. Is this going to be the norm? I sure hope not, but because a 4-hour drive away from an actual flight sounds pretty darn ridiculous. But right now we're in a serious issues with the airline industry, traveling in general, but airlines in particular, with shortage of flights, shortage of pilots, and just all sorts of craziness going on. And weather doesn't necessarily help either. Coors Light releasing Colorado Avalanche beer made with Champions Ice from the Ball Arena. Denver Post gave us this source of this one, and this is a cool one, but it's also a little bit So the Coors Light, the Coors Beer Company out of Colorado, decided to make a limited edition beer for the champion Colorado Avalanche, and they used the water, i.e. the ice, from the actual hockey rink where they play, Ball Arena, to make the actual beer. So you get beer cans with Champions Ice, made from Champions Ice. Champions Ice being the ice from the champions on the rink. Now it is fresh ice, so you have that to choose from. But it also is, you gotta have to think twice about your beer from your Champions Ice. Yes, they filter it. No, there's no blood or sweat or anything on the ice. But it is a little bit of a thing that's probably going to be best left to be a collector's item, sit on your shelf, than an actual drink to drink. It probably tastes just like regular beer, except with Champions Ice. Whatever that's going to be. 1955 warrant in Emmett Till case found. Family seeks arrest. APnews.com gave us this one. This is another story that's been floating around for a few days, but with a lot of other sort of bigger things happening, it's been hard to sort of quantify and get the real details, real big deep onto the story. But this is an actual simple story. Back in 1955, a warrant was actually released for arrest for someone in the case of Emmett Till. Essentially, the woman who filed the false claim against him. However, when they went to go basically serve the warrant, no one was there, and that was that. They took it back to the courthouse. They dropped it down, said no, I was there, and he left it at that. Since 1955, the family and the state of Emmett Till are looking for some sort of justice, as we're finding more details about this, and they are hoping that they can serve the warrant on an 80-year-old person. Who knows? Many other people are like, this is something that needs to be rested. Something needs to let go. We got to let the hate go from this one, although there's a lot of hate in this one, and take the lesson from it and move forward. How do you feel about this? Should they serve the warrant against the person? Many years since 55, since it happened. Now, remember, we had a story a few days ago about a Nazi soldier who got sentenced to 5 years for basically being found. He's 100 years old, and he's going to prison for 5 years for being a Nazi back in the 40s. So will something like this happen? We will see. Like we said, this is something that there's a lot of hatred, there's a lot of sadness built into this one, and it's hard to just say, I'm just going to let this go. We're going to see how this plays out going forward. Clippers owner Steve Ballmer wins hearts of fans by refurbishing 350 basketball courts in Los Angeles. FadeAwayWorld.net is this one. This is just a feel-good story to throw out there. Steve Ballmer seems like a pretty cool guy, a pretty chill guy. Made his money with the other Steve from Microsoft, and doing his thing. Well, he's the other Steve from Microsoft. Bill Gates. He made him with Bill Gates from Microsoft, and now that he is freed from the Microsoft demons and just being a free bird running the Clippers, he's doing all kind of cool things, and this is a great thing he's doing for the city of Los Angeles and for the world in general. So congratulations, Steve Ballmer, for being a lovable guy, even though he wasn't all that lovable back when he was running the Microsoft. And two quick stories with a similar, very similar theme to them. Both of them very sad. First one, woman dies after ejected patron shoots into Northeast Philly bar. Second one, woman walking with baby stroller shot to death in NYC. The first story, the story goes down that a patron was in a bar, wanting to play pool somewhere, and all the pool tables were taken, and he got rowdy, so they shot. They got rid of him. They shoved him out of the bar, and he shoots back into the bar through the window and shoots a woman and kills her in the bar. The second one, a woman's walking with her stroller in the middle of the street in Manhattan, I think, and then is shot and killed in that shooting, just walking her baby in the stroller. And right now, more details on this is coming up. This may be a domestic issue as they are questioning the lady's boyfriend on this issue. This may be some sort of hit job type thing that gets really, really weird. These are just two really sad stories that you probably will pick up on in bits and pieces throughout the day as they give more light to what's in the situation in these stories. This New York City shot one happened early yesterday and may have gotten buried in the later parts of the day, but it was one of those things that was just shocking and odd and just there, and now it's turning into something bigger. You may want to follow these stories. Check out the links inside of the description so you can see more about those stories. Our teaser story, I told you we get back to abortion and basically being canceled, essentially. Chelsea Handler claims her 3 abortions led School Hall of Fame to shun her. Now, this is a bit deeper than the title says, but it is pretty deep. Now, we talked a lot about Dave Chappelle and his high school wanting to rename the auditorium for him, and then, of course, he started talking about transgender people, and then they balked at the issue. This is a similar vein. Chelsea Handler was set to be honored by the Hall of Fame for her high school, but in her monologue she did a few days ago about her abortions, claiming she had 3 abortions while in high school, and she's not backing off of that claim. Essentially, the high school has said, well, maybe we should think twice about our honoring of this alumni. And she basically said that in the next day's monologue going forward for filling in for Jimmy Kimmel Live this week. You can think about what you want on this issue. We can talk about it come Monday if you decide this story is one that's worth going into. So the engagement you give this one, this story should already be posted in line on our feeds. The engagement you give this one gives us a chance to talk about this one. We got to go the full weekend, and we expect slow news weekend because of 4th of July. But the shootings and the mass shootings we've had lately in the weekends may turn this into a bigger news weekend than we think. But you get a chance to talk this one up if you want to. We'll discuss more about following the feeds and getting things up in a moment. But first, let's talk about keeping things funded here and talk about funding your own retirement and your own future with Robinhood. This is the conversation. Project.com/Robinhood is our affiliate link to Robinhood.com. And that allows you to get great investment in your pocket, on your phone, all by yourself. You can invest in stocks. You can invest in various mutual funds. You invest in various ETFs. You can invest in various crypto funds. You can do all sorts of cruel things with the margins and things like that. Robinhood is one of the more robust platforms out there. And yes, all the platforms are having their issues because all of us are having issues with the market and all things are going. This may not be the best time to think that your stocks are going to the moon and throw it all on Dogecoin. That would be pretty dumb. What it would be a good thing to do is to get yourself in the market. Think about a few things that you know are going to be around for a while. Buy a few dollars, literally a few dollars in stock of these things, and watch them grow and learn how the market works on your own. Take the advice from any market advisor you want to, read any newsletter you want to, but you have the power in your hand to control your finances. Now remember, stocks can lose value. All things can lose value. Your crypto will probably lose value for a little while, so be very vigilant in what exactly you're putting into, and take your time. Don't just throw money at like it's a roulette wheel. But Robinhood is one of the best platforms for you to get into investing right now. Simple, easy, it is free, and they are still giving you a free stock for signing up. Go to it's a conversationproject.com/Robinhood and get in on your free stock and get in on the world of investing right now so you can get your start. Because when this thing does turn around, you want to be in the game, and this gets you in the game from the start. Our main website is thisisaconversationproject.com. If you click on that website link or go to that website link, you can find out all the details about what we do at the Conversation Project and find out ways to keep things going. That is, visit our sponsors page and find what other sponsors can help you out with great things. Visit our partnership page and partner up with us to do great things. And follow links to the feeds and other things like that. The feeds can be found directly by just going to Facebook and Twitter and looking for This is the Conversation Project on Facebook and th_conversation on Twitter. Every 50 minutes we post a news story, and you just like it, love it, hate it, share it, engage with it, read it, get the information. They come from the gamut all over the place. The more you engage in a story, the higher a score it gets for engagement. 5 in the morning, every single weekday morning, we cut things off and we go through and we aggregate them down to your top engagement stories. On Mondays, we're going to give you 7 to 11 stories from the top 30, usually about 90 stories for the weekend. On a regular day, from Tuesday through Friday, for example, about 30 stories per day, and we give you from the top 15, 5 to 8 stories based on what's going on there. And you give us the feedback because you guys basically, by your engagement plus some little algorithm magic, told me what stories were most conversational. That's how we got that whole conversation thing going on that one. You can join us on our YouTube page if you're not there yet at thisisaconversationproject.com/YouTube. Subscribe. Hit notifications so you get the bell, the ring, or the little buzzer, which you get however your notifications come when we go live about 5:50 every single weekday morning. A few more today things to talk about includes July 1st birthdays. People born at the beginning of the third quarter include Jamie Farr, 88 years old today. Basically, the only thing I know Jamie Farr from is from MASH, playing Colonel Klinger, or playing Corporal Klinger, I should say. But I'm sure he did plenty of great movies back in the 60s and 70s, including After MASH, if that counts. But Jamie Farr turning 88 years today, the OG on the day. Also, OG of comedy, Dan Aykroyd, 70 years old today. And giving much love to Pam Anderson, turning 55 on July 1st. Today is Financial Freedom Day, but most importantly, it is Bobby Bonilla Day. Bobby Bonilla Day. Back in the 90s, Bobby Bonilla was a big-time ball player, and he retired from the Mets in 1999, I believe. However, he was owed about $5 million on his contract that year, and the Mets had no money. So what they decided to do was pay him about $1 million and change a year, every year, with interest for an extended period of time. That period of time runs out in 2035. Today, July 1st, every July 1st since 1999, Bobby Bonilla got a check from the Mets for $1 million plus, and he will continue to do so till 2035, and he hasn't played baseball in 30 years. Yes, it's good to be Bobby Bonilla. It's good to have that kind of deal. No one understood how that happened, but trust me, getting $1 million a year for essentially way past your life is a good thing. If you can get that deal, take it every time you want to. Now, most people will say if you have won the lottery, you don't take the annuity, you take the cash lump sum coming up forward. But this is not quite a lottery annuity. This was one of the weirder baseball deals ever, and it works for him and for us because we have this news point to point out every single July 1st for Bobby Bonilla Day. Researchers suggest why meditation works. Brain scans show that putting negative emotions into words calms the brain's emotional center. That could explain meditation's purported emotional beliefs. Lips don't work well today. Because people who meditate often label their negative emotions in an effort to, quote, let them go. Let them go. Well, psychologists have long believed that people who talk about their feelings have more control over them, but they don't know why it works. They just know it seems to work. So when you talk about your feelings, you put them into words, writing them down or speaking them aloud, that helps you, with your emotions. Especially this is hard about meditation because you are basically putting those emotions into words and whatnot and bringing them out there. So if you're having your anger issues, you're having your issues with negativity, speak to someone or just speak them out loud to yourself. Putting them into words is a way to basically release some of that tension. Tell me how that works. In the meantime, let's get ready for a good weekend, a great 4th of July weekend. We plan on doing this on the 4th of July, so we'll see how well we get for news stories because we got things to test. And we plan on doing this thing all weekend long, giving you your news stories. It's in your feed, so don't give up on us because we're not giving up on you. We will do what we can to get the best news, the better news, sometimes some of the bad news, but definitely the most conversational news to talk about come Monday morning and all through the week. Follow us on our feeds on Facebook and Twitter so you can be a part of the conversation, literally being a part of the conversation. And check out thisistheconversationproject.com, our main website, and see how you can be a part of the conversation project, helping us keep things going, keep the lights on. We've gone through a lot of struggles in the 10 years that this project, whatever its various names have been there. We've also gone through a lot of struggles in the 2 years of coronavirus and in the full last year, keeping some things alive and going to this format a few months ago, which you guys seem to like. But we also need feedback. We also need a bit of support. We also need a bit of extra love going on. So let us know what you can do for us, literally, and what we can do extra for you in return. In the meantime, let's get ready for a great, wonderful Friday, kicking off what should be for most of us 3 days, sometimes 4-day weekends. Happy 4th of July Eve. And we'll talk to you on the real day, Independence Day, here in America, I should say, because this is a worldwide thing. Talk about that in a few days.